Hello everybody and welcome to a Bazaar content reveal video. If you are new here, my name is Retromation and I currently upload the Bazaar every day at a decently high level while trying to use a variety of different builds. I have a spreadsheet where I'm trying to get a 10 win with every item in the game on my final board, and that spreadsheet is currently around like an 80% completion. If that is the kind of thing that sounds interesting to you, perhaps you could subscribe. Otherwise, let's just get to the thing you actually came here for. So I was fortunate enough to be given the opportunity to reveal Season 3's main major edition, alongside a few new legendary items that you can find there. With Season 3, we are being given our first of a whole new type of event, one that is so big that it takes up not just 1 hour node, but puts you on an entire day-long adventure. And it is an expedition to the Greenheart's Jungle Temple. First, let's talk about how you can access this event. So, to begin this event, you first need to get your hands on a Temple Expedition ticket. The main way that you can get one of these is as a potential drop from what is currently 11 different monsters. They are Boreer, Dabbling Apprentice, Street Gamer, Eccentric Aetheryte, Hellbilly, Prince Marianus, Kyber Commander, Gorgon Noble, Trashtown Mayor, Foundation Weeper, and the Treasure Turtle. The other way that you can sometimes get one of these is from events that give neutral loot, such as the Tiny Furry Monster if you take the loot option, Jungle Ruins if you take the loot option, or potentially like the Mountain Pass. And once you've received one of these tickets, you have to hold on to it until day 9, where the event will always be offered to you then on hour 1. Once you've made it there with your ticket in hand, you may enter the Temple Expedition, and you'll begin a high-risk, high-reward event, sort of like a dungeon or like an alternate floor in a roguelike. You will be taken to a whole new board where you'll progress through the hours of the day like normal, but if you fail to beat any of the challenges in that temple, you're going to be kicked out of the expedition back to the same hour in the day on your original board. Every hour in the Jungle Expedition will provide the same event choices every time you visit it. However, the rewards will not always be the same. So now on to how the day looks in the Temple Expedition. The first hour will begin with you selecting one of 3 doors to take into the temple, and this will have an impact on the next steps of this event. The options you'll have are the Obsidian Door to endure the trial of pain, the Toxic Door to survive the toxic fumes, and the Fiery Door to brave the path of flames. This is a choice that'll have an impact on what happens during hours 2 and 3, and we'll just cover what it does there. Hour 2, you're going to be faced with a choice of one of 3 different traps, which act sort of like monster encounters and look like they're going to grant you experience unless that changes before release. You get a choice of either the Blow Dart Trap, Caltrops Trap, or Boulder Trap, which are boards primarily filled with the respective item in the name. You can probably deduce generally what they'll do. Additionally, that item in that trap will be enchanted with the enchantment that matches whatever door you selected in hour 1. So for example, if you clicked Fiery, the Boulder Trap will have fiery boulders in it to kill you. It is worth noting that this is not a normal monster encounter though, so you won't receive these items as a reward, but instead you'll get a different reward in the next hour I'll go over. This is a good thing, otherwise there would be obsidian caltrops and boulders everywhere. This is good. If you die during this trap encounter, you will return back to your normal board. It will be in time to fight your regular Day 9 PvE monster, so it's not the end of the world, but do make sure to pick a trap and enchant combo that is something your board can handle. If you make it out of this hour alive, you will continue on to hour 3 in the expedition and claim your first reward. Here, you're going to be able to loot the vault. It is going to contain loot that matches the enchantment of that door that you selected in hour 1. For example, if you picked a toxic door, you're going to get toxic loot alongside extracts to boost the poison values on your items. Next, you'll move on to hour 4, where you will face your second challenge. You will get to choose between one of 3 unique monster fights. There are 3 options of different tiers, just like a normal PvE fight selection. You just need to survive any of these fights, and you'll get the kind of major reward at the end of this expedition. So you can always just take the easiest fight if you want to mitigate your risk, but each of the monsters have their own unique monster items that they can drop, and the harder fights have apparently much spicier relics that you could potentially get. If you make it through both of the challenges, you are rewarded on the 5th hour with the Temple Reliquary, where you can choose between one of 3 legendary relics. The 3 relics offered to you will not always be the same ones every time, but they will always sell for 50 gold if there's nothing there that you care about. I was given 3 of these items that I can show off here today, but I was told that there are many more than this that can be found in the temple. First, we have the Flamecoil Gem. It is a small legendary relic. I'll spoil it for you. They're all relics. That's the point. 6-second cooldown, burn 5 for every burn item that you have. This item's cooldown is reduced by 1 second for each other relic that you have. Whenever you sell this, enchant your leftmost item with Fiery. So, as an actual item that you use, it probably is pretty narrow how you can use it. Mac is pretty much the only character that has a large access to relics. His new expansion that he's getting with this patch has a lot to do with relics as well, so it'll be perfect among that. But otherwise, yeah, maybe you're going to use it and look for like a Thurible, which is a small burn relic. Factors into this quite a bit. But I do imagine the most frequent way that you're going to use this is the secondary effect, because getting paid 50 gold to enchant an item with Fiery is a pretty big power swing. In pretty much any build, you can find a way to utilize that. Next, we have the Icewatch Warden, which is a medium legendary relic. 8-second cooldown, freeze 1 item for 1 second. Whenever you freeze, poison, or burn, charge this 1 second. And additionally, you get to see the new quest mechanic. You may have already seen this on the Mac expansion cards if you watch any of the reveal videos for those. But basically, there is that additional line of text, charge adjacent relics 1 second, that is locked right there. And once, at any point in the run from here on out, this can be in your backpack, whenever you freeze, poison, or burn a total of 100 times, you unlock that additional effect to charge the adjacent relics. This item could look unassuming as an item with a 1-second freeze on an 8-second cooldown, but things like Power Drill teach us that when something charges with multiple different effects, this thing could cast a lot more often than you would probably think, and an item that freezes the more that you freeze is going to be a monster in some builds, for sure. But likely not unless you're spitting out multiple of these status effects at the same time, the freeze, poison, or burn, to charge it up much quicker. A very notable item that could pair with this is Frozen Flame, a Mac item, benefits greatly from it because it burns, and at half health it freezes their entire board, and it is a relic, so you can also charge it with the Icewatch Warden if you have unlocked that additional effect. Some other obvious pairings that come to mind are Black Ice, that poisons when you freeze, Restorative Hot Springs, that charges when you freeze and then burns, Giant Ice Club, because that thing is a monster, and obviously if you just want to freeze a lot, it's good. Nitrogen Hammer, same reason. But potentially, if you just put a Snowflake on this item or you have a Sapphire to increase the freeze duration, I could see you putting this in a build that just spits out a lot of poison and burn. Even if you don't have a whole lot of freeze in your build otherwise, you could maybe use this as a good 2-slot late-game crowd control tool with just a poison burn build. Last, but oh so definitely not least, we have the Nullfrost Altar, which is a large legendary relic. When any player uses an item, freeze it for a second. When any item gains freeze, remove all of the freeze from it. Whenever you freeze, your weapons gain 10 damage and your shield items gain 10 shield for the fight. So this thing is completely unhinged, and I love it. It is a super iceberg that also affects you, but it's also an icebreaker, so it removes freeze, so freeze just doesn't do anything from either player. So it will spit out an ungodly amount of freeze triggers at the expense, or maybe even the benefit, depending on your build, of either player being able to actually freeze when they freeze items. This item affords you the weird potential of running a freeze payoff card like a Giant Ice Club or a Nitrogen Hammer with literally 0 other freeze items on the board. Not to mention it comes with a built-in Shatter skill, giving you damage whenever you freeze, and the Aurora Dome passive, giving your shield items shield. So this just seems like an incredible and weird late-game tool, which is exactly where you're going to be finding this item, is on day 9 in the late game. So that wraps up everything that I have to share about the new Jungle Temple expedition, but I am completely hyped for it, and I think these expeditions or dungeons or whatever they're going to be called are a really good way to add large amounts of content to this game over the course of time, at a steady but not overwhelming pace due to the sort of alternate floor nature. Thank you everybody for watching. Like I said earlier, my name is Retromation. I upload the Bazaar every day, trying to play well, but also play creatively, not just playing the same builds every time. So hey, thank you, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.